Student friends, once again I welcome you all to this YouTube class. In our previous class, we have discussed about the concept like differences between total utility and marginal utility. So in this concept, we have seen 5 kinds of differences between total utility and marginal utility. So hope you have understood the concept. Thereafter, we have seen how to calculate this total utility and marginal utility. So to make you understand, I have taken a second unit. This means how we can calculate the total and marginal utility at second unit. So hope you have understood the concept. With the help of the equations, we can easily calculate total utility and marginal utility. Thereafter, we have seen the theory, that is law of diminishing marginal utility. So in this concept, we have seen the meaning of that law of diminishing marginal utility. Thereafter, schedule, diagram and explanation of the schedule and diagram. So since this question or this kind of concept which is more important, because on this department has framed one 6 marks question, that's why we have to understand this very clearly. So if you have not understood, then there is a chance to lose 6 marks. That's why let me glance one more time about law of diminishing marginal utility. In the introductory part, we have to write what this law says. So this law says that as a consumer increases the consumption of any one commodity by keeping constant consumption of all other commodities, the marginal utility of the variable commodity must eventually decline. It means if a consumer goes on consuming units of one commodity and in another side keeping all the goods constant, means that consumer is not consuming other commodities, he is consuming only one commodity, and the marginal utility of the commodity must eventually decline. It means the marginal utility which that consumer gets, that eventually decline. So that is this law of diminishing marginal utility says. It means if we consume more and more of any commodity, that the successive unit of that commodity which gives us a lesser unit of or smaller unit of utility. Means if we consume one commodity continuously, the utility which we derive from the next or the successive unit of that commodity which gives us a lesser utility. So this is what a law of diminishing marginal utility, that is what they have said through the schedule and diagram. So in that schedule, after consuming a first unit, we have derived 12 units of utility, like second only 6 units of utility. At third unit, we have derived only 4, fourth 2, fifth 0 and sixth minus 2. Means that marginal utility which goes on decreasing after reaching certain point, it becomes 0. Thereafter that marginal utility becomes negative, means there we find a negative utility. So it means if a consumer keep on consume any commodity, the utility which we derive, we means that consumer derives, that goes on decreases. So let me say a kind of hint how to draw this diagram. So we have understood that marginal utility which goes on diminishes. However, we consume more and more units of a commodity. So here we have to use the data like, so if we see the schedule here, so in that schedule, that marginal utility which is 12 at first unit, 6 at second unit, 4 at third unit, 2 at fourth, 0 at fifth, and -2 at sixth, means if we see the amount of sacrifice there, sorry, the units, how much we, the utility how much we derived, it means if we see the schedule there, we can easily understand. So after first unit we have derived 12 units of marginal utility. Thereafter at second unit we have derived only 6 units. It means we have left, it means how many utility units of utility we have left there, totally 6. Thereafter at the third unit we have derived only 4 units of utility. It means how many units we have left there, 2. Earlier 6, thereafter 2, thereafter 2, thereafter 2, thereafter -2. It means here we have to take the values like we should be less and less and less. It means earlier 12, thereafter 6, thereafter 4, 2, 0 and -2. If we take the values in this fashion, then we can easily get the total utility which increases in a diminishing rate. So this is what the hint how to take the value of or how to draw this table or schedule. So with the help of this data we can easily draw the diagram. So there the total utility which takes the same shape whichever I have drawn there, the marginal utility which always negative slope, means downward slope from left to right. So thereafter you can explain either the schedule or diagram. So to make you understand, I have said here, it means I have explained schedule as well as diagram. So in an examination you can write either the explanation of table or the diagram. So in that discrimination part I have said that, so on OX axis measured units of commodity, on OY axis measures utility. Beginning or initially the total utility which increases as consumer increases consumption of units of a commodity. At the time marginal utility decreases. After a certain period of time, total utility which increases in a and which reaches a maximum point. At the time marginal utility which becomes 0. Even after a consumer consumes more units of a commodity, total utility decreases and marginal utility becomes negative. It means as consumer increases consumption of the particular commodity, the successive units or the successive utility goes on diminishes. So this is what you have to write in a descriptive part. This is what I have said in the next concept. So let us get into the next concept, that is ordinal utility approach. So it is one of the approaches or utility approaches which helps us to calculate or measure the utility. So the ordinal utility analysis was developed by Professor J.R. Hicks and R.J.D. Allen, that is not G, that is J. R.J.D. Allen. They disregarded the concept of cardinal utility analysis. I repeat, they disregarded the concept of cardinal utility analysis. It means they are dissatisfied with the concept of cardinal utility analysis. They criticize the concept which brought by that Alfred Marshall, that is cardinal utility analysis. Let us see why that Hicks and Allen criticized or disregarded or dissatisfied with the theory. Because utility is a psychological phenomenon and it is next to impossible measure the utility in absolute terms. See that utility which is introspective or psychological or intangible, which we cannot touch or see. That is the first kind of a feature of that utility. Along with that, Marshall has said that we can measure that utility with the absolute terms, means in a cardinal numbers. So this is what Hicks and Allen said. So since that utility is psychological phenomenon, so how can we measure the utility in absolute terms or absolute numbers? Therefore, Hicks and Allen brought the ordinal utility analysis. Therefore, that Hicks and Allen brought or introduced the theory which helps us to measure the utility, that is ordinal utility analysis. In this theory, Hicks and Allen said that a consumer can rank or order various combinations of goods in order to his or her preferences. See, we cannot measure that utility in absolute terms. We can that Hicks and Allen said that we can measure or we can compare the utility by issuing the ranks or orders to combinations of goods in order to his or her preferences. Okay, we can rank or we can give order to the goods in order to that consumer's preference. Okay, on the basis of preferences, we can give order or ranks to the goods. We cannot say those, or we cannot say the actual or absolute numbers, or we cannot say the utility in cardinal numbers or absolute terms. So this is what ordinal utility approach says. So here it makes use of ordinal numbers like first, second, third, fourth. See, in this ordinal utility approach, we can see ordinal numbers like first, second, third, and fourth, like so on. It means the orders or ranks we can see under this ordinal utility approach. So that is what they have said in that example. So let us see that example. If a consumer consumes two goods like apples and bananas, then he can indicate the first preference is whether he prefers apple over banana. Second, whether he prefers banana over apple. Third, whether he is indifferent between apples and bananas, that is both are equally preferable and both of them give him same level of satisfaction. It means if a consumer likes apple more than banana, then he will give first rank to apple and second rank to banana. So in that first statement, if a consumer likes apple more than banana, then he will give first rank to apple and second rank to banana, because that consumer prefers apple over banana. No, that's why. So he will give first rank to apple, thereafter banana. Or in the second statement, if a consumer like banana more than apple, then he will give first rank to banana and second rank to apple. So in that third statement, where that consumer, if that consumer likes both the goods at the time, he can give first rank to both goods. Okay, so such a method of ranking the preferences is known as ordinal utility approach. So this is ordinal utility approach. So there I have used one image. So by seeing that image, you can easily understand what is ordinal utility approach. There is one athlete or girl who has crossed that finish line. So once any runner crosses that finish line, then we can call them as finisher. Means if that runner finishes first, it means if that runner crosses that line first among the runners, then we can call that runner as first runner. After her or him, if anybody crosses that finish line, then we can call them as second, third, fourth place runners. So this is what ordinal utility approach. So here we measure the utility by considering the consumer's preferences on the goods. Okay, if that consumer prefers a commodity, so if a commodity gives him more satisfaction, at that time he can give first rank to that good. If a commodity gives him a less satisfaction, at that time he can give second or third or fourth or next rank to that good. So that is what we learn under this ordinal utility approach. So like we can calculate the utility in this ordinal utility approach. Hope you have understood. Come at next concept, that is shape of an indifference curve. Shape of an indifference curve. So before going to see the concept in depth, let us understand the term indifference. The term indifference kind of we have brought by the term that is indifferent. Indifferent means so where we are having more than one goods. So here we wish to purchase both of goods, or we wish to purchase some of units of one good and some of units of another good. Means here we don't have a uniform opinion on the particular goods. Means we want to purchase both goods, or some of the units of one good, some of units of another good. Some we want to purchase more, some we want to purchase less. So this is what indifferent. Okay, so this we can understand through this concept, that is indifference theory. Okay, let us understand in this concept what is indifference theory or indifference curve. And in an economy, consumer consumes various goods and services. Then there are some combinations which gives him exactly the same level of satisfaction. See, so that consumer always prefers or purchases goods and services to satisfy his wants or her wants, no, or satisfaction, no. So in an economy we can find some kinds of combinations which gives him or her exactly same level of satisfaction. Means we can purchase both of goods. The graphical representation of such combinations is termed as indifference curve. So if we have shown the combinations or such combinations in a graphical representation, so that is nothing but indifference curve. It means it refers to the graphical representation of various combinations of two goods among which the consumer is indifferent. Let us understand this with the help of schedule and diagram. See here I have used schedule as well as diagram. So in that schedule we can find 5 kinds of combinations, so where that consumer can purchase the two goods. So in all the 5 combinations we can find same level of satisfaction. Okay, whatever the amount of satisfaction we get from that A combination, no, the same level of so whatever the utility or satisfaction we derive from that first combination, no, the same level of utility or amount of utility we can find under the rest of the combinations like B, C, D and E. So E combination also gives the same amount of satisfaction as we get in that A combination, because here, so let me say how we will get the same level of satisfaction. So if you see the first combination, there that consumer can consume 1 unit of apple, 15 units of banana. So suppose, just assume there we got 50 units of utility after consuming 1 apple and 15 bananas. So after consuming 1 apple and 15 bananas, how much we have derived as utility? 50 units of utility. Like in that second combination we have used 2 apples and 10 bananas. So it means to consume more of apple, or to consume or to have one more apple, so how much we have sacrificed in that banana? 5 units of banana. It means we have purchased only 10 units of banana. So to remain in the same level of satisfaction, what we have to do? We have to sacrifice another commodity. So here, to have one more apple, we have sacrificed 5 banana. So when we sacrifice the another commodity in this order, no, then we can easily remain in a same level of satisfaction. Come at third combination, there C combination, there again that consumer purchased or consumed 1 more unit of that apple. So at that time, to remain in the same level of satisfaction, what he has to do? He has to decline, or he has to forgo some units of banana. See, there that consumer has forgone 4 units of banana. So he purchased only 6 units of banana. So when he purchased only 6 units, no, at the time he remains in the same level of satisfaction. So at 4th and 5th, so let us take 5th. So consume 5 units of apple. So to remain in the same level of satisfaction, what he has to do? He has to decrease the units of banana. So he has decreased, or he purchased only 1 unit of banana. Yes, see here. So if we see the sacrifice which to purchase some units of apple, which goes on decreases. So when that consumer purchases goods in this order, then he can remain in the same level of satisfaction in all the combinations of goods, or in all the possibilities of the goods. See, it means to remain in a same level of satisfaction, that consumer has to forgo the another commodity in a diminishing rate. So just see the rate of that banana which we forgone to have one more apple. See, in that B combination, to have one more apple, how much we have forgone that banana? 5 units of banana we have forgone to have one more apple. Like at C combination, there to have one more apple, how much or how many banana we left? We sacrificed 4 bananas. Like at D combination, to have one more apple, it means to have 4th apple we have sacrificed 3 units of banana. So means here if we see the amount of sacrifice or the rate of sacrifice of that banana which goes on diminishes. So it means in a reality, to have to have one more unit of any commodity, if we sacrifice the units of another commodity in a diminishing rate, so we can remain in the same level of satisfaction. It means how much we derive from the first combination, no, the same amount of satisfaction or utility which we can derive from the rest of the combination. Means if we sacrifice or if we forgo the another commodity in a diminishing rate, so we can remain in the same level of satisfaction. So that is what we can understand through that diagram. See, in that if we see the red line, so that red line or red curve is nothing but that is indifference curve. So which we can get by locusing all the combinations like A, B, C, D, E. So if we add the combinations, then we can find one convex shaped curve, that is nothing but indifference curve. So see there, whatever the combinations we can find there, no, A, B, C, D and E, so those combinations gives us equal level of satisfaction. So there we can find at first combination we can find 1 apple 15 banana. At second combination, means B combination, there we can find 2 apples only 10 bananas, like 3 apples only 6 banana, like so if we sacrifice that banana in this order, then we can easily remain in the same level of satisfaction. So you can find their amount of sacrifice. It means how much banana we have sacrificed, that we can see in that diagram. Like, so triangle, the shape of triangle there, it means at A, B and 10, that first shape of the triangle which is huge, it means which is larger. So if we see the second triangle there, BC, like third, it means the triangle which goes on decreasing. Okay, so it means so if we sacrifice that another commodity in a diminishing rate, then we can remain in a same level of satisfaction. So that is what we can understand through this indifference theory. So that is what they have said. It is clear that when a consumer gets one more banana, he has to forgo some apples. Okay, so here the total level remains the same, and she remains on the same indifference curve. Therefore indifference curve looks downward. Like next concept, that is marginal rate of substitution. So it means we call this as in an abbreviation as MRS, marginal rate of substitution. It is nothing but it is the rate at which the consumer will substitute one commodity for another commodity. Means to get one more apple, how much banana we forgone or left, no, that rate is nothing but marginal rate of substitution. Means to have one more apple, how much banana we have sacrificed, no, how much we have forgone, no, how much we have left, no, that is nothing but marginal rate of substitution. So in other words, the amount of mangoes that the consumer has to forgone in order to get an additional banana is called marginal rate of substitution. It means to remain in the same level of satisfaction, consumer has to forgone or sacrifice some units of another commodity, that is nothing but marginal rate of substitution. Okay, so I repeat, marginal rate of substitution is nothing but it is the rate at which the consumer sacrifice or forgone one commodity in order to have some more units of another commodity. So that is what we call marginal rate of substitution in our economics. Hope you have understood the concept marginal rate of substitution. So this is what I wanted to say in our today's class. In our next class we are going to see what is indifference map and what are the features of indifference curve. Thank you.